Welcome to the Revolting Bodies podcast,
where the people are talking,
the conversation is flowing,
and the bodies are revolting.
We are your revolting hosts. I am Darcy.
I'm Grace.
Before we begin, as a content warning, every episode of the Revolting Bodies podcast involves discussions that engage with issues surrounding body image.
Some of our guests will be talking openly and explicitly about their experiences throughout the podcast.
We have aimed to make this podcast a safe space for these discussions, but if the sensitive content has the potential to cause you any distress or harm, then this podcast might not be right for you.
Today's episode is called The Media Body, which will involve personal and honest discussions around the topic of social media, body dysmorphia, and diet culture. Hey, hi guys. So we've got a few people in this call today.
I'm Rosie. I'm 22. I'm an actor. I live in London. I think the reason that I think this is kind of an important conversation to have and an interesting topic is that I think because obviously the world is changing and social media is just a massive part now, I think it's not something that you can no longer not talk about. I think it's something in everybody's lives, and even if you don't have social media, it still influences in other ways, it leaks through. So I don't think you can get away from it anymore, and I think that affects everybody now. So yeah.
Hi, so I'm Haobun. I'm an actor, and I also do a bunch of other forms of art, so kind of multidisciplinary. So when it comes to this topic, I think of course it relates to me quite a bit because I'm the one who has to go to auditions and whatnot. So I do see kind of how body shapes and this kind of situation does affect casting and typecasting especially. So I'd like to talk about that.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm 19 and I'm currently training in music. Well, not currently, but will be hopefully training in musical theatre. This topic is important to me just because, as Rosie said, it's something that should be talked about. It's not talked about enough. We need to, it is now with the new kind of media storm surrounding it, which is amazing. But I just strive to kind of be more transparent on my own social media and even with conversations with friends about body image. So I think this is a great step to widening that kind of area.
Really good points, guys. And I'm so happy we're able to do this and talk about such an important issue that obviously can be so masked in many areas of our generation. So first question to kick this all off, I guess, is how has the media affected the way you see your body?
For me personally, Instagram has been with me since I was 13 years of age. So literally, I would follow all these models and it'd always be just one body type, skinny, white as well. So my timeline was always just kind of saturated with the same body type. And obviously many other things influenced my my body image, but specifically with media, it would just be, as with many of us, it would just be constant kind of blaming and shaming myself that I'm not that way. And I just reached a point where I just got so frustrated with myself because there's only so many social media breaks that you can take because you're still going to be back on Instagram. I mean, props to those who actually can take those breaks because I never succeed at them. But I just decided, I think I found Sonny Turner on Instagram, and she's a plus size model. She's a mixed race plus size model. And I just kind of was like, wow, this is kind of what I want to see. She's a bigger woman, and I was just like, why do I not have more of this on my Instagram? And I actively went out on the search and I unfollowed all of the models that made me feel shit about my body. And now I have an incredible diverse timeline, which is the best thing that I could have done for myself. Yeah. That's kind of how media's affected me. And now I don't really feel the need to, you obviously still, have bad days and whatnot, but Instagram, because I can control that, I no longer have Instagram as something that triggers my body image. I make sure that I don't follow anyone that makes me feel like I need to compare my body. It's more of an empowerment thing now. It's more of I'm reposting that totally. And I've tried to do that myself as well, because I think that there's so much, as you said, masking that can be done. And a lot of, the highlights and everything. Obviously, I'm not going to show myself crying on Instagram, but it's cool to anyone that does. But I posted some like body positive stuff and like, this is me and this is also me, because it's just like, why not? Like, this is literally my body. I'm not gonna mask myself for Instagram, because there's gonna be another girl who looks at my Instagram and thinks, oh, her body, like her body's perfect. That's completely not true. Like, here's something to prove that, and hopefully you don't feel like you have to then beat yourself up about it, you know?
I think one of the things, like for Instagram, for me, that even though the following who you want to follow, because that was like a big thing for me, as I was like, oh, finally I'm following people that not only look like me, but just anyone that just doesn't look like what we've seen the whole time. But the one thing that kind of still I think is an issue for kind of me personally, but also I think for a lot of people, is the explore page, which all it takes is for you to just look at one picture for a little bit too long, and then suddenly your explore page the next few days is just back to what my timeline used to be. And I think that is a big thing, because then it is constantly, because you look at explore, you're like, no, I can change explore, that I can change the algorithm. But actually, just by having one kind of relapse, almost suddenly you've kind of fallen back into it, and you can't get out of this like wormhole of the Instagram algorithm.
I completely agree. Like, there's been times where I literally I try to avoid it, but when I saw a post that kind of made me feel shit, I reported it straight away, or I just like block.
That's
because
so
I was
good.
like, I don't want to see that. But I
That's
completely,
so good.
I hear that so well. Like, you can't avoid it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And there's also always some, I really love the posts that are like my body, also my body. I really love those. I really enjoy those. But I think something I think about when I see it is that actually you still just, I don't know how to word this.
You're in control of what you show, so the perception that you're
Yes,
showing is
it's still absolutely
your perfect like amount. Even when I was posing for those pictures, when I was slouched over, they're still not as ugly as, like, it's only as comfortable as I can show people.
yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And even though that's like a great step, I think there are times when people are still comparing themselves, going, oh, I even when I'm like, even when I'm slouched over, I do not look like that. And I think that is something that I'm not blaming you for, because I think I would do that too. Like, absolutely, in terms of you only show what, as far as you can go.
Yeah.
And there's a value judgment of like the normal, like this is the one that I think looks good above that one, but I suppose this one's fine too with all my roles and everything. This is okay as well, but like this is the one you'll see on Instagram, of course. Like there's not a balance at all.
Yeah. It's like, here's my rolls in cellulite with excellent lighting though.
Yeah, my bum pushed out like to the furthest it can go, like completely. Like, you see active and like gym people do it, and it's just like, I don't want to, not shaming, but it's just like, it's just not. It's just like you're jumping a bit on the bandwagon here. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
As well, we put stuff out there sometimes, and I know I've done it for like this validation. I definitely don't do it anymore. I mean, actually, I've recently deleted Instagram, which has been great.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Go on.
Honestly, like, I cannot recommend it more, because I love Instagram, and that was really, I feel so disgusted saying this, but it was hard for me to like delete it. Honestly, I can say after the first like 8 days, fine, and it's so easy. But yeah, just listening to you say that, I think everyone's definition of perfect, or the perfect body, or whatever that is in that sense, is just not the same. And I mean, what is that anyway? What is the perfect body? What is it?
It makes me think of the thing Lizzo posted when she was like, I'm working out for my perfect body type, not your perfect body type. Because there's so much about, well, if you're happy in your body, why are you trying to change it? And it's like, oh no, I think we've strayed from what we're aiming for here. And then when she posted a thing about it's for my body type, not for yours, that I kind of watched that and was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I think that hit hard, hit different.
I do like that celebrities are getting not more transparent, because Lizzo has always been on that kind of like wavelength. But it is so empowering to see just that, and just it just
also
breaks up everything you see on Instagram.
Yeah. And Demi Lovato, is that how you say her name? I remember when she posted saying that she posted admitting that she'd edited loads of her past photos, and even though I don't know whether she still is editing photos, the fact that you can be like, actually, I have edited my photos, I think was it was a big thing, because even though you're not seeing the real photo, what it really looked like, I think that's still a big thing for people to kind of read and hear and be like, whoa, actually, oh no, I've been comparing myself, that doesn't actually exist, she doesn't look like that. It's great, because I don't either.
Because of course celebrities have a huge influence, especially in the media, which is I'd love to ask this question, kind of going a bit in a different way, but how is intimacy portrayed in the media?
The sort of the sexualization of bodies in the media as well, and how
The physical
and how it kind of is
mismatch.
then tied to experience. I think that's what we were talking about, wasn't it, Grace? That about
I guess how sex is kind of like glamorized in the media. That was kind of, I don't know, what do you guys think of kind of that intimate personal side of like your body and that private side?
If we look at Love Island, for example, I mean, that's the first thing that came into my head. I mean, no words. no, but it's just created, isn't it, for exactly what you just said, Grace, like that over sexualization. There almost doesn't exist any intimacy and, I mean, sorry, privacy for those individuals. Like it I don't know if it's going to sound weird, but the models that I see on, not models, the models I see modeling fast fashion are people that I see on Love Island. So I wrote down, like, I did like a little mind map, literally glamorous, airbrushed, never fat. And then the biggest person just has an hourglass figure. So if we talk about like someone like Marlon Anderson, she's great on social media. But when she came in, she was kind of considered as like the bigger girl, or like Anna last year, like the biggest girl. It's just a bit like we're really in this time, and we're really looking at that as a guideline. And I know we say like, oh no, but I can separate myself from it. Like I said, no, but I'm just watching it for fun. But like actually, I'm watching it and I'm criticizing myself subconsciously. I mean, they're literally having sex on screen, like so you know, it kind of is like a shock, like, whoa, how did we get here? And it's so normalized, isn't it?
I always say this, so normalized.
I almost can't believe it. I mean, it must be liberating for some. Like, hell yeah, like have sex on stage, on screen, like go for it, live your life. But then there does come that kind of like privacy for those people. You know, they might regret it when they come out. How does that affect them? Do they get enough support mentally after they come out? Clearly not, because you know, things that have happened, unfortunately. It is the biggest like bullshit I've ever seen. Like, it shouldn't be a thing. I mean, even choosing partners on that basis, it completely is toxic. Yeah.
Do you think those spaces like Love Island and where, or like those sort of dating shows where these things happen, and do you think it promotes a certain type of body that can be viewed sexually, and a certain type of body that can be seen as attractive? And while it isn't saying that other bodies aren't attractive, by omission, that's what it insinuates. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and where they sort of do the sort of, here's someone who's a little bit bigger than like the other ones, this is promoting body positivity. Why are we promoting extra a sort of, and almost like they go halfway in the promotion of body positivity? They do it by a half, and then that sort of sends down the other half that still is being missed. Why do we have to promote one body at the expense of another?
I think a big part of it for me, kind of watching as a consumer, is just so much about desirability, and that these are meant to be like the most attractive people that we can find, and here they are on your TV for you to watch as they all fall in love or whatever happens on that show. And I think that they get a lot of hate and criticism by saying, oh well, only women, or even men, it is definitely both like all gender issue, these are the only desirable qualities in these genders. And I think they get a lot, Love Island gets a lot of hate because the people who are watching and consuming it don't all look like that. So I think that you get a lot of hate from that. You get a lot of people being like, what? I do not see myself in any of these women. So then they kind of go halfway and go, oh, like throw them a token something. It's very much about desirability on their terms, but we've got to keep the audience happy, got to keep the audience interested. Here's someone to feel like you relate to a bit more. But it never is. It's still this gorgeous supermodel who has been, I mean, don't they all say that they go to the gym and are on stupid diets just before they go in? Even they don't look like themselves normally. What we're seeing in like when they're in the villa, that's not even what they look like a year ago. And we were comparing them to how they've shaped up to be on national TV.
Right. So for me, I think rather than thinking about who are sexualized, because I think that's conversed a lot, I think there's also a need to be talk about people who are deemed as not worthy of sex and not worthy of being loved because they might be of a bigger size, or that they are being mocked at because they are trying to pursue someone who is skinnier than them. So when it comes to local drama and sitcoms especially, there might be one episode of usually a man who is of a bigger size, who try to pursue a girl who is kind of considered the hot one. And then the joke comes when he go and ask, oh, I think you're really attractive. Can I ask you out for a date? And then there comes the laugh track. And the girl's like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't feel like it. And it's like, wow. The fact is that this is a sincere guy. This is a charming person. But it's clear that the laugh track came out because he's a bigger guy and she is the model.
That's so true. Like,
So, yeah.
that is the fact. I mean, no, you're completely right. Most movies where, like, you know, the bigger guy likes the skinny girl and then he has a makeover to get her, and it's like, why does that have to be a thing? Like, why does weight have to play a part in, you know, this kind of humor?
Yeah, I think you're completely right, and it makes me think of kind of Friends, when Monica, when she's larger, it's just not desirable. She's the butt of every joke. But then suddenly, as soon as she's lost weight, everyone's like, whoa, you're so gorgeous. And it's like she's only desirable once she's lost weight. Chandler, like her and Chandler have known each other the whole time, but he's only interested once she's lost the weight. By being the bigger woman, it's like you said, it's almost like the joke. How could a fat person be a love interest when that's just rubbish? That's just absolute rubbish. That is the narrative that we're being sold.
It's like you have the moment in the movie or the TV show where there's a transformation, and then suddenly, by magic, everyone wants her as she walks into the prom, and you just think
she was beautiful all along,
all the time, and but it's not that she became beautiful, it's that she molded herself to someone else's standards.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Retweet that.
Yeah, I'm going to tweet that right now. I think also there's so many TV show characters like in films that have like influenced us sort of subconsciously. If I think about Bridget Jones and how there's like a really sort of tricky space there of like it being positive but also a bit like, hold on, this is a bit weird, it doesn't really sit right. So I think I'd love to hear about those characters or episodes of things that have either positively or like really negatively influenced the way you see the body standards in society.
I mean, for me, Bridget Jones was that like sticks out in my brain because I remember seeing it, and in her diary she writes down like 133 pounds, and I'm 5'8", 133 pounds. Like, I'm like, that's tiny, man. That's so small. Why are you losing weight? That is tiny. And then suddenly she's writing all these things about herself and like feeling like there's something. She writes something really horrible about being disgusting or something in her diary. I just remember looking at it, and I knew that it was wrong. I think I was at a point where I could kind of say to myself that that's not right. I'm not taking that on. But it's something that stuck with me because it just absolutely. I was going, wait, am I expected to be that weight? Because that's not going to happen. That's not happening.
It's funny how it becomes about numbers as well.
Absolutely.
I don't weigh myself. I literally just don't, because I don't see the point. I think it's more of like, unless I have to for like a doctor's appointment or whatever. But I mean, I just think, what is a number? is how I feel. I may be like, I don't know, 200 and something pounds and feel great, or I may be 120 pounds and feel shit. What's the number if you're not feeling like in yourself?
Exactly. It's that thing, isn't it? It's when that whole you can't be fat and healthy, but when like people don't actually care about how healthy you are, it just, because they're so conditioned to be fat phobic, even myself, to myself, that you just see fat as not as unhealthy, but as just ugly. And why are you caring about other people's desirability, you know? And it just comes down to the whole fact that all of this, I can't think of an example when film has impacted me. I'm sure it has, I just can't like consciously actually think, but it just all comes down to you just feeling like you're not worthy with, you know, of love or sex, even because you gained a few pounds. Like how like how have we gotten here? And again, if we're looking on a wider scheme of things, you know, patriarchy has its way of seeping into that, and it has done that. Yeah, it's just fucked us all.
I think definitely, and in films, there always seems to be a moment where the female character worries about what she's eating. Like it's not crucial to the story, but there's always a scene where she tells someone she's going on a diet, or was it Eat, Pray, Love, and they have to have the conversation about eating pizza, and it's good because like it's Julie Roberts, isn't it? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, when in Rome, you like just eat the pizza, buy bigger trousers. And it's good that you have that, but at the same time, it's like, why are we having this conversation? I'm watching a woman go, oh, I shouldn't eat pizza. Why is that content I want to watch? How is that entertaining for anyone? And yet, here we are.
So for me, one thing is I think a lot about Disney princess, the way that they are being portrayed. If you look at history, actually because of how much money and wealth and whatnot that they have, a lot of royalty are bigger size because they get to eat meat, they get to have salt and everything. So whenever I see kind of like, you know, the prince from Sleeping Beauty and everything, and they're like long and lanky and they have like abs and stuff, I was thinking, no, that's not like what prince really are in real life. I have not seen really like a fat prince or the fat king in Disney, and if they are probably the one that's keeping the princess captive. Yeah, so that's one thing. I bring that in because just very recently, I'm talking about within the last 2 weeks, there was a casting call. It's my age range, it's my race and my height and everything, but it's for Prince. And I dare not to apply for it because that was what I was thinking. I was like, oh, they're looking for a prince. I'm too big to be a prince. So I didn't apply for it when they said nothing about weight. But it has gone so deep into my subconsciousness that now my perception of a TV prince or a movie prince is a skinny man with abs.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I can't really speak for how it affects men. Obviously, being a woman, I only ever, you watch the female bodies. And like you're saying, with princes and with princesses, you kind of go, oh, the princess has long blonde hair and has a tiny, tiny waist and has the daintiest feet. And she walks and you don't even hear her. She doesn't take up any space. And you go, oh, I grew up playing contact sports. That's not me then, is it? Okay.
What about lockdown then? The trends, Chloe Ting, all of that, you know, what are we thinking regarding all of this lockdown media? Obviously, gyms are closed. It's affected a lot of people, which in some cases I get. Gym is healthy in the way that if you're using it in the right way. What do you guys think?
To give a lot of options for us, I think there was a whole phenomena at the start of lockdown of the transformation, just like in the movies. How odd that you'd come out of lockdown 2 sizes smaller with your hair cut off, with banana bread recipes.
Banana bread.
And you'd
I'm
be
thin and
a
I
new
can
person,
cook now.
and that you'd learn a
And
new
I can
language.
sew.
Oh my god, the sewing! I cannot sew. And then people started to capitalize on it. People started to make a thing out of it, and people started to sell you workout schemes, workout apps. They started to put it online and make money off of YouTube of their workouts. And then TikTok happened and blew up a bit, and I am a criminal for TikTok. I am a bit obsessed with it. And then you had all of those filters on there turning up that drew your attention to the newest fad of things that you should hate about your body. Just last week, I discovered that having a wide rib cage is undesirable to men via TikTok. I don't know what that means. I love to breathe. I don't know what that means. And there was one that was like a yellow teeth filter. And I was like, great, I needed to know that, didn't I? To test my teeth. I'd love to hear about everything else that you've experienced during lockdown that has just sort of made these body image problems better or even worse than they were before.
That week could be a while. I think just so much. The more time that I spent on my phone, and especially like I was saying about the explore page earlier, I've run out of things to look on my timeline, so I've gone to the explore page. Like media, films, TV. I'm going back and watching all that stuff, even like the old stuff, the things in the 90s. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not okay. And I think and everyone like posting their transformation, because of course you only post that you're doing amazing in lockdown, and you sit there and you go, rightio, everyone's doing fantastically. And also the fact that you have no routine, that you have no structure, so you're eating more, but no one else seems to. Like, why am I snacking all the time? I've had 4 dinners today. Everyone's doing it, but no one said it, so suddenly I feel bad about it. Yeah.
But isn't it funny? Sorry, because even you just said it then. How, and I say it all the time, like how we always say everyone's doing it. But who? I'm sorry, who the is everyone? Like,
who are they?
We say it too. And then I question myself, and I look back, I'm like, wait, I've seen like 2 or 3 things on the medias like that kind of, and that's everyone.
And also a big thing is that now, like, lockdown started to ease and that you're seeing more of your friends. The one thing that I've noticed a lot that comes up in conversation is people talking about gaining weight over lockdown as if that's part of like, oh, so I read this book, I watched this film, I learned Spanish, and I gained 5 pounds. That's part of their checklist. Or if you haven't, it's like, oh my word, you can still fit into your jeans pre-lockdown. How did you do it? How did weight become how did that become something interesting about me during lockdown? That was something I didn't deliberately change, but suddenly that's the conversation. You haven't seen me in 3 months because there's a global pandemic, but you want to know, are you wearing the same jean size? Exactly.
It's like it's synonymous with productivity, isn't it? It's kind of like, I'm so unproductive, I just chucked it out the window. But it's like, how the fuck is my weight measured in how productive I've been, as you said, Rosie, during a global pandemic? Fucking ridiculous. I'm so embarrassed that I started doing Chloe Ting's workouts. I did it. I'm gonna admit it. Okay, I'm sorry. But
it's okay. I did Joe Wicks for so long.
I was just like, because I did a part-time musical theatre course, and I was in once a week, and I had a 3-hour dance lesson, and it was really intense, and I missed that. So when I came out and into lockdown, one of my biggest anxieties was that I'm gonna go back to the way I was before this course, because I had gotten quite toned, and I have gained a roll here and there. And it is kind of like that process of like, you have to deal with body positivity and like neutrality, because I do believe like in body neutrality more now. It's like you've got all these beliefs and systems, and then you don't expect something like lockdown to happen, and it just goes out the window almost, and you have to bring yourself back, and you have to center yourself, like, stop being fat phobic to your own self. And like, I wasn't forcing myself to do this routine, to do the exercising, because as I said, I did want to get healthy, but behind it was the motivation of, let me not get fatter. Yep. And it's like, why do I have all these beliefs and I can apply it to everyone else, but not myself? So when do I cross that bridge, where I actually meet myself in the middle of not punishing myself? And obviously it's a work in progress.
So in my house, I have no mirror at all. So the only mirror I have is my webcam, like, for real. So this is the image of myself that I've been seeing, and it looks generally okay. And when lockdown kind of eased up, I met up with a bunch of friends. The first thing that I was saying when I entered the room was, "Whoa, you got fat," right? And I mean, to retaliate, I said, you got fat too. But anyway, so it got to me. I was sitting in the room for like a good 20-30 minutes, and I was thinking, how much have I gained? Because I haven't looked at the mirror at all. And I said, guys, can I use the bathroom? I went to the toilet. I looked at the mirror. I was like, oh shit. And the thing that scares me was I wasn't thinking about, oh no, like my health is declining, my probably, my blood pressure, all that kind of stuff. None of that is in my thoughts. My thought was just, oh, here's a double chin, you got another row here and there, that kind of thing. So that was a very, very worrying thing, and I didn't even think much about the way I thought about it until like a week later or something. Like, I was not worried about my health at all. The immediate thing was appearance, and the second thing that came to mind was casting. Like, now I can't play skinny. Maybe I can play average. I was thinking, am I now average? Am I now TV fat? Where am I? That was my thought process, which is a very depressing thing to think about. That my own well-being, my own health, was not even close to a priority.
Yeah, I think that's sad. It's sad that, like, obviously we're prone to think that way, and it is because we've grown up with all of these expectations. Even I remember when I used to go out a lot, I always felt like I had to match that and wear the skimpy dresses and all of that. But the whole time I knew that wasn't really me. And we have to do these things, or like, well, not have to, but I feel like this is such a materialized world, or like generation, that we are more concerned about what we look like rather than who we are. We're more concerned with losing weight and sculpting our bodies, getting rid of that double chin or whatever, rather than actually growing as a person, which is, to me, definitely now from my experience, is so much more important. I am so much more invested in growing as a person and challenging myself in different ways and learning new things, learning more about my spirituality and just real things, and not all these. That is the real thing. That is life. Because at the end of the day, all of these other materialistic things you're not going to take when you go. Sorry. But it's not going to matter when you go. And that's the inevitable thing. None of it will matter. No one cares. And yeah,
I'm a tombstone's a shit person, but at least she was a size 8, so
actually, that is what I'm saying. Yeah, I think we need to start growing more inside than outside, because
Completely.
so I feel like this generation lacks a lot of substance, and that's not everyone, and that's not me judging. Or people are scared of getting deep and chatting real talk. They just, oh, did you see this? Did you see the new line that whoever brought out on Opoly? Or did you see that girl on Instagram, or what she posted, and blah blah.
And I also think that we don't think that our accomplishments are the most interesting things about us. Even if we are trying to better ourselves and learn things about ourselves and about other people, somehow always comes back down to weight and how you look. So that is what you present, because that is what you get the attention for. I mean, even if you take it back to like complete basics and put it in terms of likes, you could put a post up on Instagram saying, I now have like 6 PhDs. I don't even know if that's possible, but that's not going to get the same likes as, I don't know, you absolutely looking your classic perfect body, which is going to get the more attention.
Yeah, that's partly due to algorithm, right? Because the algorithm do favor pictures of people, because it has been proven that if you do post a picture of yourself, the algorithm will push you forward. But if you were to post a photo of, let's say, your 6 PhD, because the algorithm, the robots don't identify the human face, they will not put you at the front. So even though people might even want to see it, they might want to approve of it, the technology behind it doesn't want you to succeed.
And even you saying that, like, why are we not jealous of someone who has 6 PhDs?
I love how this has become the benchmark for success now. 6 PhDs. Everyone else, step up your game. I'm joking. 6 is way too many. Everyone be okay with just none.
5 is
That's
enough.
okay.
One person that you can talk about. I feel like, why isn't that something to be jealous of rather than a flat stomach?
Simple example, just wanted to say this bit because it just popped into my head, but how many times do we leave, if we're talking about even on a spiritual kind of level, and how comfortable we are within ourselves. How and you mentioned like skimpy dresses and running around with like a crowd that makes you feel like you step away from your authentic self. How many times have you stepped out the house wearing something really uncomfortable? I mean, I just hide behind baggy clothes sometimes because I just, again, it's that minimizing yourself, right? And taking as little space as possible. I mean, I'm wearing baggy clothes, but you get the gist. And it's like, it just really makes you think. You kind of rebel with what you wear as well. So to feel kind of comfortable with yourself, literally, it's a good reminder. It's really obvious, but wearing comfortable clothing, going braless, you know, that kind of thing, not wearing a vest under your top because you've got rolls and you don't have a six pack, that kind of thing. Like it just like comes down to like the basic things that we've forgotten because we've been conditioned by our phones.
Do you guys know about the whole TikTok situation? I think it happened late last year, where they have been suppressing TikTokers who are disabled, queer, or fat.
The TikTok algorithm is very weird. I've looked into it loads because I can't figure it out. The idea is that it's allegedly randomizing you all the time, but it clearly prioritizes who you interact with. So you have to either like, comment on types of TikTok that you want to see more of. That's very weird, isn't it? And so it kind of means you have to, like Instagram, cultivate your own feed, even when it's supposed to be random. Everyone do some research into that. It's very weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to round this up, I guess, I would like our generation, I would just like us to be more real and less fake. That would just be me. Just be real, like be you. I mean, share your soul, bro. Like, don't just share, you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to the real stuff. You know, we want is longing for that, but everyone is just too afraid to say anything. And groups and all of that. Just be you. Don't be part of a clique. You know, take a break. Don't always rely on other people to take a break.
That is something I would really encourage people to do. I deleted Instagram for 4 months a couple of years ago. I did get it back and I am on it again. But I think that is, I mean, like you were saying earlier, Grace, it really changes things. And it is really hard for the first couple of days, but then almost, well, for me anyway, my experience is that almost overnight, the next day suddenly just stopped thinking about Instagram. And I just didn't pick up my phone so much anymore because I was like, oh, if it's text or a call, it will come through. It's more important. And once you get no Instagram notifications, I wasn't constantly checking that one of my friends posted, someone else posted, or I got tagged, someone liked something. So I think, if I could recommend something, it would be not necessarily delete it if I think social media has a lot of value.
Oh, fully.
But I think if you can confidently say you could delete it and come off of it for a month, good for you. But if you genuinely don't believe you could come off for it for a month, then I think that's something that more people should work towards. I mean, now I don't think I could come off it for a month. I've done it before, but I don't think I could now.
Yeah, I think it's like recognizing the hold that it has over your concept of yourself.
Definitely.
I think even just having that conversation with yourself can be really useful. I think everyone should kind of investigate that within themselves of how much do I rely on seeing these images to feel like me?
How much do you rely on likes to feel good about yourself?
How
and
much
I know that's like
makes me.
That sounds like such a thing your parent would say to you, but it is like it's a genuine thing. Like if a photo gets less than 100 likes, I'm like, well, that was a failure. Like, what is that about? I don't even like these 100 people. Some of these 100 people I've never even met before in my life. Why am I trying to please them?
I think for me, it's just because I started being more transparent or controlling how transparent I am from what we've talked about. Just maintaining that and bettering myself towards that. If I am using Instagram, that's pretty much right now what I can think of, really. Just transparency and as you said, Grace, like realness, pretty much, which I think I've been good at anyway on Instagram. But with posting things, and in general, just how I interact with people on social media, making sure that my friends are on board with me as well, and that we're on that same kind of thing, so that can then affect other people if we're lucky enough.
For me, it will be marketing or showing yourself. It could be called, marketing, just yourself for what you have achieved, what you believe in, more than just what your body is. Share about if for example, if the recent riots is what you are passionate about, share that, talk about that. That's what social media is meant for, is to bring up social awareness. That's the whole social part of it, right? So less photos of yourself at the beach, at the gyms, and more photos of yourself, going to auditions, more photos of yourself taking care of yourself, more videos and more posts about just what you are passionate about this world, and what you would like the world to be more understanding of, more than just, hey, I can fit a size 6 now. Woohoo. Yeah, that's me.
Love it. Oh, thank you guys. I think that was a great conversation, and you all made it so comfortable, and I think it's really important to keep talking about this. In fact, I feel like this is like another series in its own.
Thank you so much to all of our guests.
The next episode is called The Healing Body, where we will be discussing eating disorders and the body's relationship with recovery.
But the conversation is not over. Follow us on Instagram @revoltingbodies.
Stay revolting.